What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Will with the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Austin area, club director at Garcia Young Men's Leadership Academy. Today, we're doing another career launch. This is Shelby Thompson. Shelby, please tell us what you do for a living.
Thank you, Will. I am currently a buyer for a department store that some of you may or may not have heard of. It's similar to Macy's. It's called Belk. So I actually am responsible for picking out the merchandise that goes in the store for several different brands. If any of you know of Levi's, that's one of my main brands. So I get to pick out what type of denim they carry, and pick out how many units that I send to the stores and which stores they go to. Before that, I was a buyer at a sports brand called Fanatics. They sell licensed sporting goods. If any of you have heard of it, they aren't actually a store. They sell product at, say, major league sporting events. So any MLB game, any NFL game, any NBA game, you can buy product directly from a shop that you would find at the stadium.
So why did you choose this particular profession, and how long have you been doing this?
So since I was in the 5th grade, I always thought that I wanted to be a fashion designer. I went to NC State for a career in product development and textiles. And my first job right out of college was in the design field. I was designing sportswear for both men and women. And while I loved what I did, it was very subjective, and my management could basically say, I like your design or I don't like your design, and I never got to see how well my designs performed. So I didn't get to see the numbers behind it. So say this is your number 1 style, your number 2 style. This one is selling $100,000 a week or a month. And that was something that I was really interested in. I wanted to still be creative while also using some of my knowledge that I had in school. And I actually enjoy math, contrary to a lot of people. And so I wanted to see numbers behind it, and buying kind of puts both together. I've been in buying for about 4 years now.
Okay, very cool. So what are some steps that you had to take in regard to your profession and you becoming successful in this particular career field?
So first off, I would say that it depends on what you are interested in buying, what you're interested in being a purchaser for. So when I was in the sports realm of things, paying attention to how teams were doing, team names, team performance, the scores of games, and then knowing players so that you know which product to purchase more of. If I know that Tom Brady is about to retire, then I should probably not buy as much product for him because he's not going to be playing on the field the next year, and you're going to move that to more of a memorabilia standpoint. From a fashion perspective, now that I'm in retail, I would say knowing what your trends are, knowing your fabrics. So trends, for example, animal print and snake print were very big last year. So you don't want to miss a curve there by not having that on your floor when the customer sees something, whether it be on Instagram or social media, and they want to come to you for that trend. You have to make sure that you're up to date so that you have that product on the floor. From a school standpoint, I would say that algebra is very important. I do things that are very Excel driven, and when I get different reports sent to me, I have to manipulate them in a certain way. So if you could pay attention to any Excel classes that you take to be able to do pivot tables or VLOOKUPs, things that seem very irrelevant right now become very important in the future. Along with that algebra, being able to solve for different variables that you need to get to an answer. So calculating sell-through, calculating your sales volume and how much revenue you've made. So also calculating how much your stores have on hand. So if you have 1,000 units of a shirt and you have 10 stores, you're trying to figure out about an average of how many stores have that product. So that would be 100,000 divided by 10. Each store has about 100 pieces. And then from a career standpoint, I started working at Old Navy when I was 15, so that I could understand how many pieces go on a table or a fixture, being a four-way or a T-stand, how many pieces will fit in this shelf, understanding when shipments come in, how the consumer will process and shop that. And then just what type of trends, what new marketing and things are coming down the pipeline from a consumer perspective to get them in the door. I know Old Navy does $1 flip-flops all the time. So what are those? You come in for $1 flip-flops and then you end up buying 3 shirts because of that one sale, and how it drives a lot of revenue behind it.
Okay, excellent. So everyone always wonders what happens to the losing team from the Super Bowl's t-shirts. Can you shed some more light on what goes into buying for both teams, and then what happens to the shirts from the losing team?
It's so funny that you ask that. I actually wondered the same thing before I started my job at Fanatics. So with any game, we kind of look at statistics based off of the team's their season performance. If they've had a really great season, obviously both teams have had a really great season, but normally one team has been a little bit better than the other. So that being said, we do normally split our purchase 50-50. So I'm a Panthers fan, so I'm going to say that one time that the Panthers got the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, I don't even remember who they played right now, but we split that product half and half. So we bought half Panthers product and half the other team. And the losing team, which unfortunately was the Panthers, got returned to the vendor. So we negotiate up front, and we're able to come to a conclusion that the vendor shares some of the risk in the liability, instead of us as the owners and purchasers of the product, instead of us being stuck with a lot of inventory that we can't sell because a team lost. We will end up returning it to them and let them choose what to do with it, whether it be to destroy the shirt. A lot of times they can use heat to take the logos off that they have imprinted and reuse the blank t-shirt for another team, or they could sell it off to another country or donate it. So it's actually very interesting, but we share the risk so that no one party is stuck with a lot of inventory.
Okay, excellent. Very cool. So what is your favorite aspect of your job? What really gets you excited about getting up and going to work in the mornings?
I would say, first off, the people that I work with are awesome. It's really great if you're going to spend so much time every single day with a team of people that you create a very positive environment. Second, I would say I just love the creative aspect that it gives me, and knowing that my leadership trusts me. Whatever decision, when you are a buyer, you're never going to be right, and that is okay. So you're always going to buy either too much product or too little product, and people understand that. So it gives you the opportunity to learn from previous seasons. If last year I bought too little, then this year I'm gonna bump it up a little bit and buy a little bit more, and see where that gets me, see where that takes me. So just knowing that you can never really make a mistake that affects your business to a point where you would be reprimanded for it.
Okay. So Shelby, do you have any advice for our students?
I would say the biggest piece of advice I have to younger students would be to actually pay attention and to retain your knowledge that you have, because you don't realize it right now, but some of that information is going to become very important in the future. So I actually saved a lot of my books from high school and especially college, because I still go back to them in my job today. I have a big book of fabrics that has each name of every fabric written out beside of it. And it's been very helpful to me, even though I will admit that I did not pay the most attention as I should in that class. So that's why I do have to go back to the book and reference it quite often. And then to my point about algebra earlier, everyone always says they don't know when they're going to use math ever again in their life. And it does help me a lot in my job, understanding how to write a formula, how to solve for X or Y. And then I have become much better at my job and can actually help other people on my team because I remember that information from high school.
All right, very cool. All right, well, thank you very much, Shelby. We appreciate your time. I know that our students appreciate your time. I know that the Boys and Girls Club of the Austin area appreciates your time. We will sign off now unless there's anything else that you would like to say.
Nothing. Thank you. It was great to speak with you, and good luck to everyone.
All right, thank you.